UK Educator. So I am Anika. I'm based in Bristol, United Kingdom. I'm originally from Canada, and I worked as a teaching assistant for 4 years across Canada, Australia, and here in the UK. I have been in the UK for 2 years now, and 2.5 years actually, I believe. And I now work with ANZUK UK as the Global Opportunities Consultant. So I support UK and Irish based educators looking to go over to Australia and New Zealand. So, if you ever find yourself here in the UK and you're going either to Australia or to New Zealand, back to New Zealand, you can get in contact with me and we can support you with kind of going back there.
Lovely. Thanks, Anika. Yeah, so my name's Henry. I am a special needs teaching assistant from Brisbane, Australia. I moved over here just pre-pandemic in 2019. And yeah, so I've been working with the ANZUK in a couple of different schools for the last 2 years, but I've moved into the office. And I've been now, yeah, just went over a year with ANZUK as a Northeast education recruitment consultant. So yeah, I deal with all kind of the more Hackney, Tower Hamlets areas, but happy to help with any kind of questions or anything that you guys have for any kind of areas. I've lived in South London and also North London, so yeah, I've got a bit of knowledge on either side.
Cool. And hi everyone, I'm Claire Scott and I'm part of the global team also, and I'm based in our New Zealand office. I support Kiwi educators travelling to the UK, and I also support Kiwis going to Australia. We've also got Tyler and Jackie on the team who are working out of the Australian offices and supporting our Australians moving over to the UK as well. So some of you may have already been in touch or spoken to Tyler or Jackie. I'm New Zealand trained primary teacher, and I taught here for 3 years before I went, and then I did some supply teaching for 2 years all through London, really moved around quite a bit. So yeah, supply teaching is amazing, and it's definitely something that you want to have a go at while you're over there. Oops, I move. I'm on the slides, so I'm not very good on the technical. I'm the one having technical difficulties, sorry. Okay.
All right. So this is just kind of a bit of an overview of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about, how does supply teaching work? How do we approach you with work? And we're going to give you an introduction into our app called Ready to Work, so you have an idea of what it looks like and how it functions. We're also going to give you some, essential and handy tips and help prepare you for your day. So, Henry and I have both done the supply teaching deal, it's why we're kind of deal. So we can give you some, insight into what we've learned from our experience, and Claire as well, having done supply teaching. So we'll, there's little things that we picked up along the way. We can give you some insight into the handy little tips that we've learned. And we're going to talk about what you're going to do then on the day when you're at the school for both teachers and teaching assistants. There'll be kind of expectations as well of when you arrive and when you're at school and when you finish work for the day. And then we're also going to give some tips on how to make it your own, how to bring your own flair to your supply teaching. And then we have our contact information at the end.
Bit of an interactive part here.
Yeah, if you guys can just throw in the chat what you are, what you teach, would be really handy for us to have that information as well.
And this could just help us kind of gauge, what team to put you in contact with when you do arrive overseas. So we do have different teams that, kind of work with, I know particularly in the Bristol office, we have one team member dedicated to working with teaching assistants, and she places them in special education settings. And we also have consultants that, work with teachers in different areas as well.
Lovely. Okay, hi Nicole. Got a humanities.
Oh yay, we've got Kiwi.
Yay. Harriet. Psychology and maths, lovely.
Oh, cool.
Oh, great.
Oh, another Kiwi. Maybe.
Oh, from
awesome.
Christchurch. Oh, I love it.
So
hey David,
like
how are you?
primary and secondary mix so far.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. A little bit of teaching assistant interest in there too, which is great. I love to see that.
Great. Okay, crack on.
That's great. Thanks, everyone.
And
So this is just oh sorry, just a
No,
little
you're
bit of
okay.
info into how our Ready to Work app and our system work. So in our app, we're going to have some pictures that follow in the next slide, so you have an idea of what it looks like. In our Ready to Work app, on the main screen, you'll be shown a calendar for the month, and you can adjust your weekly and monthly availability. So, if you're, just come to the UK, you're in London, you want to, work part-time and also travel, have some extra time to travel, you could mark yourself as available for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just have all of your Fridays off for a month, just so that you have a little bit extra time to take those long weekends. You can also say, you know what, I might work 3 weeks full time and then maybe take a week off, just be able to go travel for a week, hop off to Europe or something. So you're in control of your availability in the app, and it'll show up green for the days that you're available to work. And then it will show up red for the days that you mark yourself as unavailable. So it's very, very flexible. It's all based around your schedule and what you're comfortable with. Now, on the day of work, oftentimes, work will come in, we'll have a call from the school in the morning saying, I need a year 3 primary teacher. Do you have anybody available? So what we ask on the day that you've said that you're available to work, so say it's a Monday morning and you're like, yep, I'm going to get lots of work this week. We ask that you get up before 7 a.m. and sign onto the app. And there will be a question asking you for today, are you ready to work? Or are you not available? So if you are available today, you click Ready to Work, and that pops up on our system as well. And we see that, yes, you are available for these bookings that pop up, and we can say, oh, great, you can be that year 3 teacher that fills in that placement that we have for today. So we'll give you a ring, and we'll let you know about the school, what kind of the expectations are for the day, how to get there. And then we also sometimes have like pre-bookings as well. So, you might get called and even after school and just say, oh, hey, you know what, the school's asked you for the rest of the week, or the school's asked you to fill in for them all week next week. So there are pre-bookings available. But to start with, sometimes you'll get, like what I noticed is whenever I did supply, before you create those connections with the schools, it will be a lot of work coming up on the day. So we just ask that you get up early and just make sure that you let us know that you are ready to work. And so this is what the Ready to Work app looks like. So the long picture on the left with the calendar just shows the available days for work, and then the red days are the unavailable days. So it could be that somebody's gone on a holiday, could be that maybe it's term break, but you are in control then of your availability and how many days you work. And then the small picture on the bottom left there, it has the I'm up and ready to work today, but also the I'm not available to work today. So that's what we choose in the morning. So say it's Monday morning and you woke up and you got really bad head cold or something, and you're like, oh, I was really planning to go to work this week, but I'm feeling really, really under the weather. You can just say, yeah, no, I'm not available to work today, and then we won't give you any calls.
Perfect. Could I just add one more thing, sorry, just before we go through? So you've also got the set by hours, which is a really, really handy one for you guys to know, is say if you weren't available for just the morning, but you wanted to work in the afternoon. We do sometimes have schools that only need a teacher for a half day, and or if you are still wanting work and maybe the teacher bookings aren't there, we do still have some support staff bookings that might be in the afternoons or anything like that. So you can click that yellow button in the middle there, and it will it'll come up with a list of hours, and you can kind of block out the hours that you aren't available, but it still lets us know on our side that actually you are still available for the afternoon, and if we do have something to give you a call. So that's just a helpful tip for you guys to know. Alrighty, so essential tips. Getting around London, it doesn't have to be a nightmare. I use a city mapper, so that's a really handy app to have. But just a couple things that, when you are doing supply work, always to remember, always have a valid ID. So that could be either your passport or your driver's license, and making sure that you bring your hard copy of a DBS. Obviously, you're probably saying, what is a DBS? Some of you may know, but it's something that you need to get, which we will help you with during your registration to work in schools. It's just a safety background check. So familiarize yourself with the nearest transport links and your journey ahead of time. I always, the night before, if I've got pre-booked, I'd always kind of look out and work out the best route, and also look up a backup route. Although London is an incredible, transport system, it is really amazing. You can still have, a train breakdown or something like that. So, a line might not be running that morning. So it is also handy to kind of have that backup route or that backup option for yourself. And yeah, as I said before, City Mapper is a really good one. Obviously, you've got your Google Maps as well, but City Mapper is a fantastic one that I use every day. I actually don't know about Travel Line, so I'm learning something new today, which is great. But yeah, Travel Line for areas outside of London. I'm sure Anika has probably used that a bit more than I have, but that's a really great one for me, because I'm definitely going to use that now for when I'm going outside of London.
Yeah,
and the other
it's
thing
definitely
around
handy for that.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to tag on from that, Henry, is around the travel. I didn't familiarise myself initially on my first few days, and I got on the train going the wrong direction. But like it says there, you just let the office know. So you'd ring Henry and say, "Oh, I'm going to be late. I'm just heading off in the wrong direction. This is what's happened." And is that right? You'll liaise with the school, Henry, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah.
it's just, communication's key for us. Is that's just what we kind of ask. If you can just get on the phone. Obviously, you might be freaking out, you might be on the tube and you can't actually get onto us, but if you kind of get yourself out and let us know right away, that's really helpful. And we liaise with the school, and normally the school are very understanding about that, and also about things running late because of a tube line being closed down. So yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, it's great. So you've always got them on the line there to reach out to.
So are there some more handy tips? Have yourself ready for the next day, clothes packed, and your sports kit if needed. So sometimes if you are doing general cover, you may need to do some PE lessons. We always kind of ask that. The schools are I would say 99% of the time, they're pretty good at letting us know if you're going to have to do a PE lesson, because they don't really want to put you out as well. So, but yeah, just having that available for yourself is really handy. So you may be traveling up to an hour, so be prepared to go as soon as possible. And that's kind of following on what Anika mentioned before, having yourself ready for work. When you click that green button, our expectation is that you are ready to go. You can just kind of grab your bag, grab your things and head off. Prepare lunch. So not all schools have lunch meals prepped for you. Sometimes, I find that most schools will have a high street, kind of close by, that you can kind of stop by at a Sainsbury's or Tesco and grab a meal deal. But it's always best, to save that money and save the stress, and have some lunch pre-packed, and have all your devices charged. Again, that's just, that just helps in terms of communication. If you are getting lost or anything like that, you want to be able to look in your maps, you want to be able to contact us. Finally, bring a book, because not all schools will allow you to have phones throughout the day. Something to entertain yourself while you're on your break.
And the other thing around clothes is, if you're a supply teacher, you can normally get away with like 2 outfits. So you can wear one thing and then you can wear that same outfit the next day and no one knows that you wore it to the other school. So you can really get away with not so many clothes. You can put them on repeat, which is really good. And that traveling for up to an hour, some people are probably going, oh my goodness, an hour, that's such a long time. But a big chunk of that will be sitting on the tube reading your book. You know, it's not a stressful travel trip. And if you add in the walk time to the tube, the time on the tube, and then the walk to school, it does add up really quickly. And average traveling time in London is 45 minutes. I mean, that's a standard trip.
Yeah, we try not to make anyone go up. You know, it's we normally want to have people go just for about max about 45 minutes, but there is sometimes we do need you guys to possibly push a bit more. So yeah, on the day, what to expect as a teacher or cover supervisor. So yeah, when you received your confirmation, so you might get myself calling you up and asking, can you do this job at a school in you know, next to Regent's Park. You'll receive a confirmation text and an email, and what that will have, it'll have all the details. So you'll have all your details for the school, the location, and then your contact on that, and then also that your contact for the consultant as well. So when arriving on time, giving yourself, I think is always best, giving yourself a little bit more time. So maybe arriving 10 minutes early has always been a big help for me if I've ever done a kind of cover supervisor day, just to give yourself, you know, you can work out, you know, what you're doing for the day, familiarize yourself with the school. But yeah, getting there and asking for the school contact. They'll give you an info pack, relevant material for the day, lesson plans, and then they like to have those people there just maybe 5 or 10 minutes early so they can run through and get you prepped for the day. And yeah, like it says, finally, every school is slightly different. So yeah, if you are unsure, you can always just ask. Everyone's pretty friendly. So what should I do in class? Teach? No, sorry. So greet students as they come in, take the register, follow the lesson plans and activities, learn a few names in the lesson, make notes, positive or negative behavior taught and content completed. And then ask any nearby teachers and teaching assistants for a hand if you feel stuck. They're there to help. And then also another tip that I would say is also familiarizing yourself you know, with the behavior policy. So when you get to the school, asking that cover manager to what is your behavior policy? Is it a 3, you know, is it a 3 warning sent out, or, you know, every school is different, and it is really handy to kind of keep that streamlined. So that's just another tip for you guys to know.
Yeah, that's a good one. And the nearby teachers are gold, the teaching assistants, because they know the students and they know what they should be doing and are like. And then, yeah, just, you know, the nearby teachers are amazing and really, really helpful. So that's a really good one.
Great. So what to expect on the day for teaching assistants. Now, it'll be fairly similar, you know, when you first arrive as it would be for the teachers. So again, it's the arriving on time, letting us know if you're going to be late. You know, that's absolutely fine. You know, we'll just let the school know so they can accommodate that. But then when you arrive at the school, it is an asking for the contact. You walk into reception, into the office, and just say, "Yep, I am so and so. Can I please speak to the contact who's going to coordinate me?" And then they'll be able to tell you where to go. So first things first, I'd say have a chat with the class teacher about, you know, the students and who you'll be supporting, the layout of the day, and, you know, what kind of learning activities they'll be completing. It is really, really crucial to get that information from the teacher because, you know, especially as a teaching assistant, you might be working, you know, either in a mainstream setting, you know, in small groups or one-to-one with students that have a range of needs, or you might be going into a special education setting where, you know, you have a class of 8 boys that have autism, and you need to know what triggers them and who to watch out for, because it happens. There will be students that will just not get on, and the teacher will say, keep that one away from that one. So it's really, really important to ask the teacher about stuff like that, because like you won't be aware of the dynamics right away. And, you know, it's good to kind of watch the dynamics in the class as well. But also, like, if anything that you can get from a teacher to start with is really, really important. That'll just give you a head start. And then it's important to know too, like, what kind of strategies work best for the students, what kind of learning strategies. You know, some students might need more breaks than others. Some students might work better if they're in a quiet space. So you should make sure you familiarize yourself with that. There might also be, a folder of, any kind of needs that students have in the classroom that you can read through as well. And then it's just also kind of helping prepare, the teacher prepare for the day. Just, is there anything I can help you set out, or any kind of resources I can help you prepare? Then I'd say, with the teacher, greet the students as they come in, to familiarize yourself with them. I ask the teacher to point out any one-to-one students you might be working with. Just be there and be present and be welcoming when students come in, because they're going to see you and go, who are you? And you'll get it all the time, and they'll ask you the questions, and it's usually quite fun. You can have some fun with it, and they'll hear your accent and they'll get really excited about it. So just have that warm, welcoming air about you as well, and just greet the students with kindness and welcoming in the morning, and then they'll open up to you. They tend to open up to you a bit quicker that way. And then being patient as well with one-to-one students, because sometimes, depending on the needs, they might take a little while to warm up to you. So it's just being aware of their needs as well with that. Now, I'd also recommend keeping notes on student work and behavior, especially if you're kind of new to a setting, and you haven't worked at that school before. Maybe just keep notes on, like, yeah, we tried to work through this task that you set. We had some really good start on it, but then we kind of petered out halfway through and just got a bit flustered or something. So just keeping notes on that, because then you can always go over that with the teacher later on and just say, hey, this is why this wasn't completed, or we got some extra work completed because they seemed like they were in a really good mood. So just making sure that you're taking notes on it. Now, really key as well for teaching assistants is to follow the safeguarding procedures. So with one-to-one work, you will not be allowed to be like one-to-one in a closed room with a student. There needs to either be door open, or there needs to be a good window, and so anybody walking past can see you sitting one-to-one with a student. So you should not be alone with a student one-to-one at any point. Obviously, like, there's going to be some, like, especially if you're working in special education settings, there might be some, toileting needs or something like that, where that is different. But we just have to make sure that you have, like, your DBS cleared and stuff, and like you've got all your safeguarding training and things. But typically, yeah, you just make sure that you follow the procedures, so that you're not following the safeguarding procedures, and making sure you're just make sure that you're covered as well, just so that nothing can come back on you. And then interact with the class and the lesson. So I used to like to kind of, greet the kids as they come in, observe them, in their morning routine, when they're kind of just having that, like, getting used to, setting up for the day. And I try to, like, interact a bit as well, and just try to get to know the students a bit more, but I like to observe how they, work with each other, and what their relationships are like. And, kind of during lessons as well, I like to kind of observe the teacher. But then you also want to be involved, though. So you want to be sitting with the students. You don't want to be sitting at the back of the class, on your own, just not engaged with the students. You want to be within the class, and especially if you're kind of just doing general cover in, like, a small class for a special education school, or doing, like, group work and stuff. So make sure that you are engaged and integrating yourself in with the class. So at the end of the day, this is some kind of useful tips for what to do for teachers and teaching assistants. So tidy up the classroom, just help out the teacher, or if you've been the cover teacher for the day, just help out teaching assistant if they're there, or if you're just in the classroom on your own. Yeah, just kind of help tidy up, try to return resources to where they've come from. Obviously you might not know where everything goes, but try your best. A teacher will really appreciate a tidy classroom. It means the world to them. So just kind of helping, just pick up little things, stacking chairs and stuff like that. Mark the completed work, or make notes for students if they weren't able to complete it, and just make sure you're leaving notes to teachers saying, little Billy just got really upset at this point. He was feeling flustered, got really upset. He needs to take time out of the classroom. This is why this work isn't completed. But otherwise, make sure that the rest of the marking is complete, or you leave a note to the teacher saying, this is, why this is what we did, something like that. And especially, that's actually a good note to make as well. Like, if you're not sure on the marking policy, ask the teaching assistant, ask other teachers, they'll be happy to help. It's really helpful if you can keep track of what you did during the day, just so the teachers didn't have to go back and say, oh my gosh, I don't actually know what they did. Did they actually retain anything from this lesson? So make sure that you don't leave the school until all the children in your care have left. So most of the school days, will end kind of around 3:30. And as a cover teacher, once your obligations are filled for the day until 3:30, whatever it is, then you're able to go. But if there's a student in your classroom that is left there, that does need you to still care for them for whatever reason, don't leave until the students are gone. Just another safeguarding thing, just making sure the students are safe and taken care of. We would also suggest, having a debrief with the cover manager if you're a supply teacher, or with a teacher in charge if you're a teaching assistant. Just talk about how the day went, any challenges or wins that you faced. Like, oh my gosh, I had a really, really great lesson with these kids. They were really engaged. And then little Billy came up to me and he was like, I had so much fun today. Tell them about that, because they love to hear it. Leave a note for the teacher as well to let them know. But again, like if you had any kind of stucks for the day as well, just like, oh man, that PE lesson was really tough. I didn't have much engagement. What can I do better next time? And like showing that initiative where you want to, learn more about, how to interact with the students. It is really, really helpful, and it's really highly valued, and the schools will really appreciate you for that. So have a debrief with the cover manager and the teacher, and just talk about the day and, what you did well, what could have gone better. And it just helps create those really good relationships with the schools.
Yeah, and so if it's a school that you've really enjoyed and had a good day in, always make sure you go, oh, thank you, it's such a lovely school, I had a really good day, and they'll go, oh, that was good teacher, and then next time they need a supply teacher, they'll request you back. So you kind of, like
they absolutely request people back. It's a big, it's a really good one to do.
So make sure they know who you are when you leave. Sometimes it's a harder day and you'll be like, oh my goodness, running out the door, and they'll go, excuse me, can you come back for the week? And but that's what supply teaching is all about, I suppose.
Right. So these are just some, little ideas, just kind of, make the day your own, bring your own flair to the classroom, just so you're not kind of, because obviously you want to follow the lesson plans and things, but you want to bring some fun into it. You are a new teacher for the day. It is a bit of a novelty, right, for the students to have an international teacher. So have some fun with it. So if you have any activities that you particularly really like, whether that's, any kind of like math challenges, or any English word challenges, like like riddles or something like that, bring them in. If you've got some free time with the classroom, you can do that. Or like little pocket games that you can bring with you to the class can participate in, or little like would you rather things for kids. They love that as well. You can also have some like websites or activities in mind to fill time. Like you can search for websites that have, again, like funny riddles that you can try work out together, and it is a really good time filler, but also keeping it educational and keeping them engaged. Twinkle is huge. You can have some of those resources on standby, like word searches. I used to love using those with my class when I was working as a teaching assistant here. And they just having some, either on a USB. If the school allows you to use a USB, you can have that. But just even having some copies with you that you can go and photocopy. And again, end of the day, you just got a little bit extra time, like a little bit too much time before the end of the day to have reward time maybe, but you got some like little resources to keep them engaged is really handy. Speak with the teachers though, like kind of before and after the day starts, just to learn from their experience. Ask them about any kind of activities that they particularly like to do with their children, what they find gets a really good reaction out of the students. They will have really good ideas as well. You'll always be able to learn something new from the teachers that you speak to. And then again, you can have the resources on the USB if a school allows it. Not all schools will allow you to have a USB to plug into the computer, but some schools will. And let the students ask you questions. You have 10 minutes of free time before, you go out for a break, for recess, you just, have like a little speech and language session where they ask you questions about you, who you are, why you're here. Like I used to get it all the time. Why do you have a funny accent? Where are you from? Why do you live here? Why did you live in Australia? Stuff like that. So the kids will be really intrigued. So you can use that as well. And it's a great way for them to practice having a conversation and practice listening skills as well. One thing that we forgot to mention, I think, as well, is that in most of the UK, well, in all UK schools, you will not be able to have your phone on you during the day. It will need to be in a bag stored in a safe place, typically, within the like staff room and stuff. And it is a safeguarding policy. So don't rely on having resources on your phone or anything either. You will need to have them either like on USB or in a hard copy. Phones it's pretty much a no phone policy in classroom. Some schools won't let you have them in the staff room either. So definitely no in the classroom. Some schools won't let you have them in the staff room. Most schools will, but just be aware. Again, that's why we say bring a book. But yeah, have all your other resources either on a USB or in hard copy.
Yeah, and it's sort of 50-50 whether the work's left for you or not. So as you sort of go on, you'll get more and more ideas the more classrooms that you go into. But in the end, after a couple of months of supply, I used to have one literacy activity for the juniors and the senior primary students and one numeracy activity. And then I would fill in the rest of the day if it was fine and I could get them outside. I'd just take them out for games. At the end, it's about trying to minimize your marking as well. If there is no work left for you, it's just up to you to come up with things. So the really good activities, I would have a book for literacy and I would do like a character study or for the juniors, so they could draw their favorite character and talk about characters. And that requires no photocopying. It means you're taking your book or a little picture book around with you, and that's it. And then you can do the same for the seniors. You could do a sequencing activity or something like that. And again, no photocopying. They can just do it on plain paper. And numeracy, I would focus more on the sort of geometry, shapes. There's lots of really cool, fun things you can do there. And again, because you can't always get into the photocopier either. So things that you can keep in your head that require very little preparation means that you're so much less stressed in the morning trying to sort of roll the day out. But you'll pick up lots of good ideas and activities as you go. And just jumping back to teaching assistants, for those primary teachers on this side of the world, all of the primary classes in the UK have a teaching assistant attached with that class. So it's something different that you won't be used to, but every primary class, even up to year 6, will have a teaching assistant. So yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. Anything else anyone wants to chip in?
No, I think we've covered everything there.
Okay.
Yeah. If you guys have any, little tips and tricks as well, like feel free to share them, because, we're always open to having new ideas and it's a great place to share them. But yeah, so here's our contact information. So I'm based in the Bristol office, but that's my personal email or my work email and my phone number to reach me in the UK.
And I will send out this recorded. Sorry, Henry. I'll send this out as a recording, so you will have this as well on file.
Yeah, perfect.
And in the email, I'll put Henry. I'll put all contact details on there too.
Lovely. And if you, I'm sure you guys are aware, but if there is any kind of extra, SEN things that you need to know, I have a little info pack that I've built over the couple of years that I didn't have when I started. So if there's anything like that you want to kind of get working, especially working with children with autism, I'm more than happy to shoot me an email and I can send that over to you.
And that's probably another tip for supply teaching, is make the most of it and give yourself as many opportunities as you can. Teach in levels that you're not comfortable with. And then I ended up working in special needs long term through supply teaching. So started out daily thinking, I have never been in this environment, really loved it and tried different special needs environments and then moved into it. And special needs is really interesting on your CV. The class sizes are much smaller. You're looking at my primary class where I had 9 students and 2 full-time teacher aides. The assessment is hardly anything, you know, so prep and that kind of thing. So really, really, really good. Definitely encourage you to, while you're doing supply, to make the most of it.
Great, thanks. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. You know, it's a great time to ask. You know, we've got quite a bit of knowledge and experience between the three of us, which is really handy. We've all seen different experiences and stuff, which is great. Yeah, anything else to add, guys?
No, just thanks for your time, guys. I mean, yeah, we've got a question here. Absolutely, Libby. Yeah, the amount of times that we have educators, teachers that might do a supply, just like Claire was saying before, you know, you'll have the day and then you'll say, oh, I really loved it here, that was amazing, and then they might have another day or two later on the week that they'll get you back in. Yeah, so many times that I get a call from a school and then just say, oh, can we just have them full time to, you know, to the rest of the term or to the end of the academic year. Not everyone wants to do that, and that's fine. You're not expected, if a school is asked to keep you for full time, you're not expected to do that, but that definitely does help lead into full-time positions. Yes.
And it's quite a nice way as well, because you've been in that school and you know it, and you know, yeah. Where are you based, David? Are you based in Australia? Melbourne. Not an issue at all in New Zealand. We would love to have you come on over. There's no visa requirements at all. You can just roll on into New Zealand whenever you like and start working. Yes. So once you get the email from me, let me know. We've got our New Zealand local recruitment company is called UK Education. They specialize for the New Zealand market. For the UK, you need to have, once you're over 31, you need to have a grandparent who was born in the UK, or if you've got a de facto partner or spouse who has a passport that you could sort of go as a dependent on. So it's a bit tricky.
At that point, at that point, the only issue with being able to teach in the UK is just getting to the UK. It would be a visa requirement at that point. You know, so if you can find like a migration company that can help you, you know, get a visa to be able to live in the UK for a few years, like definitely possible. We can sort you out with finding work here. But yeah, the visa requirement will be the biggest hurdle at that point.
So I can follow up. I'll follow up with you on that one, David.
Great. Any other questions, guys? School terms in the UK. Very different from the Southern Hemisphere.
Most of the time they're 6 week like kind of blocks, and then there's a half term, and then another 6 weeks. Is it? Sorry, this is horrible that I can't run at a blank. Claire, it's still 4, but it's then split up into 2 in each.
Where it's a four. We have the 4 term years here, 4 term years, but in the UK it's a 3 term year, and each term is about 13 weeks long. But one of those weeks in the middle is a week off, so it goes 6 weeks, 1 week off, and then another 6 weeks, and that's a term. So it's really nice for traveling because you've only got a 6-week block. On this side of the world, you know, you guys sometimes have to do 11 weeks in a row. It's pretty, pretty full on. And the academic year starts in September as well. So it's quite different. So these guys over there are just enjoying 28-degree days at the moment as they roll into summer.
Beautiful.
While we're freezing over here. But the best times to arrive, if you're only wanting to do supply teaching and you don't want to get into a long-term job, then that doesn't actually kick off until about 3 weeks into the academic year. So you'd be then sort of looking at arriving anytime from sort of mid to late September. You can turn it whenever you like. You might say, well, actually, I'm going to stay for summer and I've got a friend's wedding, so I'm going to go in February next year. And it's busy all the way through. The academic year finishes in July. So day-to-day supply starts drying up, what, by late June, Henry? Right?
Yeah. It starts to slow down a bit.
Yeah. And so
We
some supply teachers head off to Europe then, and take an early summer. And some supply teachers will roll into try and get a term job, for that last term, so they know they've got solid work all the way through. But I can send them through to you as well, Harriet. I've got the term dates, so perhaps I'll put them in the email that I send out to everyone.
So accommodation and rental in the UK, when we start organising this. So I'll speak a little bit to Bristol. I don't know a whole lot about London, so I'll leave the London to Henry, but I'll speak to Bristol a little for that. So Bristol is a very quick market. If you were to come out to kind of the West Country out here, if you were to come to Bristol, we suggest, if you're looking to start working in the UK, maybe, in term one, kind of that mid to late September, we would suggest arriving in August into Bristol to try and find a place to live, just because Bristol particularly as well is there's a lot of uni kids. There's two really big universities within Bristol, and rental properties go very, very quickly. So we would say, come and have accommodations for a couple of weeks lined up. And sometimes with flats right currently, you won't even have time to go see it. There'll be a video posted to the rental websites like Zoopla or Rightmove, and you take the rental sight unseen essentially. So you see the video and then you take the rental sight unseen, and that's actually how I got my last flat. It was the market so quick, we didn't even have time to see it. We literally had to just watch the video and say yes, we want it, and there was 2 other people applying for it as well. So it's very, very quick. If you think like, oh, I'm going to be in Bristol next week, there's this nice flat, I'll go see it next week. By the time you get there, it will be gone. The flats are gone and on and off the market within a couple of days. So again, if you were like planning to start working in September, arrive in August to give yourself a couple of weeks to do that, because it's a very intensive process. You need to be like dedicated for a couple of days to getting a rental. It's not impossible though. Like stuff's coming up all the time as well, but it moves very quickly. So you need to make sure you've got time to focus solely on that.
Yeah, I would probably echo that for London as well. I find that it does move just as quick. I've always told educators coming over to give yourself a couple weeks or a week, just so you can just go out and do check out properties as soon as they come up, and give yourself the time. Otherwise, you have to go down that route of, all right, watch the video and go for it. We have spare room if you are looking to live with people. That's one of those. So they'll be posting rooms in a house. So that's very handy. Yes, rentals do come furnished and unfurnished or part furnished. I just I would echo again, just to kind of give yourself some time. Either get an Airbnb, or you can kind of sublet places. Again, you can do that on Spare Room. If you're not on the pages like Aussies in London, Kiwis in London, jump on them. They're always posting. People are always looking for flat shares, and all teaming up together to go in together. There's also I'm based in Hackney, which is northeast London. I'm on a page called Hackney Wick Spaces, and they post regular flat shares or places that you can rent. So it's quite the busy market, and there'll always be a fair few people kind of gunning for the one place. But again, I don't want to scare you off just because it is busy. That does mean there's still plenty of other options. There's always something popping up. So
we can give you a letter of employment as well, to say that you are employed with us, then that will help with the rentals. So it's not impossible. Like, you just need to be really on it for a couple of weeks just to be able to sort that out.
I can't remember what there is. There's also like a private landlord rental. I'll have to find out, and I'll let Claire know, just to see if I can send it out to all of you guys. But that's another route where it's like a private landlord not going through an agency, which can help sometimes. But yeah, I moved into a place that was completely furnished, Harriet, and with 2 other couples. And yeah, it was fantastic, and that was through a private landlord in South London when I was down there.
Yeah, normally you just want to go and buy like your sheets for your bed, and
Yeah.
That's it really. You're good to go. Like knives and forks are all there, everything's all there. So yeah.
Great, that's been some really great questions though, everybody.
I've just made a note, so I will include, we've got a really good accommodation sort of blog as well, so I'll pop that in, as well as the UK term dates for everyone.
Perfect, that's great. Well, thanks so much everybody for joining the webinar. We really appreciate you taking time out of your evening. We're looking forward to supporting you no matter where you go in the world. So yeah, hopefully we'll all be in contact quite soon, and so I mean, again, my pipeline focus is kind of UK to Australia and New Zealand, but I'm always happy to have a chat to discuss what my experience is like, or to give any recommendations. You can always feel free to send me an email, just if you've got any kind of questions.
And sorry, and I hope to see you guys, all of your faces soon. We have our educator event, so if you do end up making your way over to the UK, I'd love to see you guys all at one of our educator events where we have all the overseas educators come and meet each other, have a bit of do some fun activities, and sometimes end up at the pub. So it's always a good time. So hopefully I get to see you guys.
Great. Yep, and also, yeah, we have events here in New Zealand and Australia as well, and I'll chuck in our events page, although some of you may have found this via that, but keep an eye on that. There's always new webinars and events popping up on there too, so